It's 5 p.m. and this is the KD Newscast Show.
Hello everyone, my name is Cleo Taylor and I'm here at Valerie Barrios in a discussion about the magnificent discovery of bacteria, mainly known as animalcules.
This year, 1676, is the year that will soon begin to revolutionize the world as we know it today.
And why do you say that?
Because of the discovery of bacteria.
I'm still confused on how such small living things can change the world in so many ways. Let's face it, there are only so many things that one thing can do, especially considering the size of these so-called animalcules.
You never know, size can be deceiving.
I wouldn't get that far ahead of yourself. The use of bacteria hasn't even been discovered yet. Anyways, what is bacteria?
Well, from what I know, bacteria is single-cell living organisms that have been discovered, but to get a better understanding of these animalcules, let's get some input from one of Anton van Leeuwenhoek's most trustworthy assistants, Leslie Mata.
Welcome to our K&D Newscast Show, Ms. Mata.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I am very glad to be here with you two to discuss Ms. and Mr. Leeuwenhoek's work with animalcules. I apologize that my boss, Mr. Leeuwenhoek, cannot be here today, but I am also glad to be able to provide any information you are interested in and want to know more about.
Before we get into detail on your discovery, could you please provide us with any important information regarding what drove you to continue with your research and work with Mr. Leeuwenhoek?
Yes, of course. Well, before we even begin to look into organisms and their structure, Mr. Leeuwenhoek first created a new and improved microscope. This he did with his skills in lens grinding, and the microscope was much better and about 500 times more magnified. With this innovation, we were able to begin the study of components that made up things such as grass and fabrics.
How did this lead to the focus being living organisms? I mean, that's two completely opposite things.
Well, to be completely honest, our focus is not on living things. The original reason for creating the new and improved microscope was to allow Mr. Leeuwenhoek to view pieces of fabric in more depth.
Why fabric? That seems like such an odd thing to look at with such an amazing innovation.
Mr. Leeuwenhoek was a cloth member and he needed to be able to assure that the fabrics he was purchasing was up to par. From there, we began to look at things such as grass and hair.
So, where was the first bacteria found?
Well, Mr. Leeuwenhoek discovered the protozoa first, a single-celled organism. This being found in pond water. There was no specific reason for him choosing to view pond water. He was just observing it one day to see what was in it. But then he got interested in different forms of liquid and began to explore rainwater, lakes, more ponds, and eventually moving on to the human mouth. There he discovered that we, the humans, have bacteria within our bodies.
Really? So you're saying I have bacteria in me?
Yes, this is why Mr. Leeuwenhoek and I began to research where we could find bacteria in the human body. Mr. Leeuwenhoek is a very observant person. His ability to make careful observations led him to discover many things. The first scientific observation he ever made, since he was never interested in science and only into microscopes, was the protozoa. Most recently, he discovered bacteria. From here, we both began to study and record everything that we ever discovered about bacteria. We even began to isolate some bacteria from different sources and calculate their sizes.
This reminds me of a joke that I once came across one day when researching.
I would love to hear it.
That really isn't necessary.
Why do the bacteria cross the microscope?
Not this one again.
Why?
To get to the other slide?
Ha ha ha.
I'd have to admit, that one is pretty funny.
Anyways, what about Mr. Leeuwenhoek and the study of animalcules has kept you interested in continuing work with him?
Well, other than Mr. Leeuwenhoek being observant, he is quite funny.
Why do you say that?
When he first discovered bacteria, he gave it this weird yet funny name. He gave it the name animalcules. I thought it was funny for him to call such small things animalcules.
I think that's pretty interesting, and that's actually a pretty accurate name.
Yes, I agree. Animal meaning animal, and cules meaning smaller. That is what he first saw under the microscope, so I feel that was an understandable name. Although I do have to agree with you, Leslie, it is pretty funny to say.
It is.
Miss Mata, I just wanted to say that I feel that all the information you have provided has been very interesting as well as factual. Although, we are almost out of time, and I do have one last question for you.
Time flies. Ask away.
You said that the first bacteria or protozoa was found in pond water, and Mr. Leeuwenhoek later moving on to other sources, including the human mouth. Has there been any research done on the effects of bacteria in our mouths?
I also wonder about that. If you think about it, we don't swim in ponds often because we occasionally get sick. Do you think this has something to do with the bacteria?
This is a marvelous question, but I'm afraid that I do not have an answer for you guys. Because there is a recent discovery, many experiments and testing are still in the process right now. We are focused on the structure and what these organisms actually do, but I think there are great points that I can take back to the laboratory and think about when researching.
That's okay. You have been able to provide us with lots of first-hand interesting facts, and we are very thankful for your time here today, Ms. Mata.
Yes, thank you so much. You really helped us get a better understanding of this astounding discovery.
You're welcome. It was the least I can do since Mr. Lamenhook cannot come and speak to you too.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. to listen to another interesting discovery on the K&B Newscast.
And that's a wrap.